In a time long past, Jamshid ascended the throne, and under his rule the land flourished as never before. With wisdom unmatched, he introduced knowledge to his people, teaching them the arts of agriculture and craftsmanship. He brought prosperity, planting the seeds of civilization, and the land bloomed under his reign. He crafted the first ships, giving his people the gift of the seas, and they set sail toward distant lands. Under Jamshid's reign, peace and joy filled every corner of the kingdom, and the people thrived in harmony. But as the years passed, Jamshid's heart grew heavy with pride, and the once humble king became blinded by his own greatness. He declared himself more than a king. He claimed to be a god, deserving of worship and reverence. He withdrew from the world, consumed by his own creations, and no longer saw the faces of those who once adored him. The people, once loyal, began to murmur among themselves, questioning the wisdom of a ruler who had become a tyrant in his own right. In his arrogance, Jamshid saw himself as the pinnacle of all power, yet the world around him slowly began to unravel. As the years turned, the divine favor that once shone upon him faded, and the land, once bountiful, began to wither. Famine spread across the land, and the people, hungry and desperate, turned their eyes away from their ruler. No longer the glorious monarch he once was, Jamshid's name began to fade from the hearts of his people. In the face of calamity, the mighty king became a shadow of his former self, his greatness slipping through his fingers like sand. The world that once bowed before him now turned its back, and Jamshid was left to wander the halls of his crumbling empire. After years, Zahhak, a man driven by greed and ambition, seized the throne with bloodshed and treachery. He murdered Jamshid to claim the crown, setting the stage for a reign of cruelty and fear. His rule was harsh and ruthless. His word law and his armies struck fear into the hearts of all who opposed him. From his shoulders grew two serpents, monstrous creatures that demanded daily sacrifices of the kingdom's youth. Every day the people trembled in fear as the serpents fed on the lives of innocent youth, and Zahhak's rule grew ever more tyrannical. Zahhak ruled with an iron fist, spreading suffering across the land, his cruel reign unchallenged. The cries of the oppressed filled the air, but Zahhak remained deaf to their pain, his heart hardened by years of power. Tyranny became the norm, and fear gripped the hearts of the once free people. But Zahhak's reign, founded on blood and terror, sowed the seeds of its own destruction. The serpents, once symbols of his power, became chains that would eventually bind him to his fate. Kaveh, a blacksmith who had lost his sons to Zahhak's serpents, could no longer bear the tyranny. With a cry of defiance, Kaveh raised a banner made from the skin of his dead son, calling for rebellion. His cry echoed through the land, and soon the oppressed came together under his banner. Kaveh led the people to the gates of Zahhak's palace, demanding the fall of the tyrant who had enslaved them all. With the power of the people behind him, Kaveh's rebellion struck like a storm, and the walls of Zahhak's empire began to crumble. At last, Kaveh and his army stood before Zahhak, ready to bring an end to his reign of terror. Zahhak, once invincible, now found himself trapped by the people's fury and the strength of Kaveh's resolve. With a final devastating blow, Kaveh struck down Zahhak, the tyrant who had haunted the land for so long. Zahhak, defeated and broken, was bound and thrown into a dark prison, never to harm the people again. The land, once ruled by fear, was free at last, and the people rejoiced in the dawn of a new era. With Zahhak's fall, peace returned to the land, and the reign of justice began under the wise Ferdowsi. The once ruined kingdom began to flourish again, its fields green and its cities alive with laughter. Ferdowsi brought prosperity to the land, but he never forgot the lessons of the past. That power is fragile, and pride comes before a fall. Jamshid, whose name had once filled the land with glory, was now a forgotten memory, a cautionary tale whispered in the wind. Zahhak's dark reign was no more, and the people could finally breathe free, knowing their future was in the hands of those who valued wisdom and justice. Though the years passed, the stories of Jamshid and Zahhak remained, carried on the winds of time as legends of power, pride, and downfall. The legacy of their reigns serves as a reminder to all. No ruler, no matter how mighty, is beyond the reach of fate. And so the people lived in peace, knowing that justice, though delayed, would always find its way. The tale of Jamshid and Zahhak was a story not just of rulers, but of the resilience of the human spirit. A story passed down through generations, a testament to the power of truth, love, and justice. As the years turned into centuries, the land remained free from the shadows of tyranny. The memory of Zahhak's cruelty faded, and in its place, a legacy of wisdom and freedom took root. The people lived with hope, knowing that their future was bright, and no darkness could extinguish their light. And so, the kingdom flourished. The story of Jamshid and Zahhak, a distant memory, their lessons etched into the hearts of all. And thus the tale of Jamshid and Zahhak was passed on, forever a story of caution, strength, and the eternal struggle between light and darkness.